What's up, guys? It is your girl, Bianca, and we are back with another One Piece recap. Today, we are talking about the Arlong Park arc. The Arlong Park arc takes place in Kokoyashi Village, which is Nami's hometown, her home island. Her island was invaded by fishmen, namely the Arlong pirates, who took over the town slash island years ago when Nami was just a little girl. They came as a surprise to the town, and they not only took over the space and started taxing them like the local mafia, they also killed civilians who couldn't pay their tax. This most significant person um, that Arlong killed is Nami's foster mother, Bellamere. This set off like a chain of events because Nami was then subjected to being branded by Arlong because the tattoo on her arm, it becomes something else at the end of this arc. But it starts off as Arlong's mark, his trade signature tattoo that all of his pirates have. So he branded a little girl. He made Nami draw him sea charts by force because she is a very gifted young lady and future navigator. Um, and he makes a deal with Nami. Nami and Arlong's deal entails her collecting an absorbent amount of money to buy back Kokoyashi village and basically save the villagers from Arlong's tyrannical rule. She doesn't really tell anybody else about this burden. She doesn't share it with the other villagers because they have to pay an annual, not even an annual, a regular tax for each and every person that's in each household. So it's not like anybody could lend her the money. Nami becomes like a bandit, basically, a thief, and she robs pirates. She robs pretty much anybody so that she can collect the money to save her town. There's such a powerful scene in Arlong Park where Nami realizes that Arlong never intended to let go of his tyrannical rule over Kokoyashi village, and he in fact allowed her to believe that, allowed her to collect money, and then basically stole the money via the Marines, the greedy Marines, the corrupt Marines that were working with him at the time. And Nami is so distraught at this and so angered by Arlong that she starts to stab that tattoo, that branding that he put on her at such a young age. She's now a teenager, now going into adulthood, and she realizes how much time she wasted, how fruitless, how hopeless the situation is. And, as we're on this island and all these details are unfolding, Luffy's the type of guy not to just step in, so to speak, because he believes in allowing people to go through what they want to go through. But he is a helpful person, right? But he kind of waits because Nami initially tells him, hey, this is not your problem, this is my problem. But in this moment when Nami is having this distraught, you know, very much warranted breakdown, um, Luffy stops her from stabbing herself. And Nami looks up at him. At first, she's, angry, and then she becomes sad. And she finally asks Luffy for his help. And Luffy, he gives her his hat. He walks away, and he's like, "Of course I will." And that is like one of the most badass moments in this anime. I would argue so far, because you just see Luffy walking, badass music comes on, and you know, in the distance, you see Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp, and they're waiting. They're just waiting. And he's like, let's go. And they're like, all right. You know, like it still gives me chills because it's like they were just waiting to help Nami because there was no doubt in their mind that they were going to help Nami. And their resolve is so impeccable, it's palpable in that moment. So they go to defeat Arlong, right? So there's a couple of moves that are showcased in this episode. Usopp's hammer when he fights Chu. Usopp actually wins battling a fishman. Can you believe it? I can believe it because when he puts his mind to something, he actually comes through. Yeah, so at the end of the episode, Luffy destroys Arlong Park. He beats up Arlong. All of his men are, disheveled on the floor, and he sent them packing. And Kokoyashi Village is saved. Some things that I just want to break down, and if you're still in the video, we're the real One Piece fans, right? Something that I didn't realize before was that Arlong Park is the first episode in the series where the concept of different races are are introduced. So not only do you have white, black, brown, and yellow people, you also have fishmen, right? And the anime goes on to introduce other races as well, namely giants, namely Skypians, minks, the animal people, there's Lunarians, there's dwarves, there's the three-eyed people. I think they're introduced in Big Mom's arc. There's point being there's a lot of different races, and later on in the anime, the concept and theme of slavery and racism is like really hit home, and you feel that tension, right? Especially when they visit Fishman Island themselves and archipelago where um, the rich class is shown to actually enslave different races of humanoids, and the struggle that they have to go through. You watch Arlong Park and you watch how Arlong is just he's just hot. This man is heated. He is spouting the positive nature of fishmen. Fishmen are stronger. Fishmen are more superior. Fishmen can breathe in underwater and in air. Like he's constantly putting humans down. And he sees red, like literally from little infarctions. Like when Usopp, I think, hit him with something with his slingshot. It didn't even cause Arlong any harm, but like when you look back at that episode where Arlong had to be dragged out by his crew, he's like PTSD reliving like traumatic events in his past. They don't go into detail and they don't show it, but like his interpretation of what happened, you could tell it's over conflated. This is later explained in the anime further down, hundreds of episodes later, when it is revealed that Arlong was a part of the Sun Pirates. The Sun Pirates were a group of fishermen who included Jinbei, Arlong, Fisher Tiger, and Hachi. Fisher Tiger was the captain of the Sun Pirates that existed many years ago. Without going into much detail, Fisher Tiger was trying to make the Fishman Pirates be adventurous just like any other pirate group. They came across this girl who was enslaved by the celestial dragons, and she cried and begged them to take her with them. They ended up taking her back to her hometown, where, don't get me wrong, the people that were family to this girl and that loved this girl were happy to see her, but they double crossed the Fishman Pirates, and awaiting them was the Navy. And so Fisher Tiger lost his life. Now, even before they had taken this little girl back, Arlong was not vibing with humans at all, right? He went along with Fisher Tiger because that was his captain, but he was against taking the girl back. So, fast forward to Arlong Park, you can kind of see, not agree with what Arlong did because he killed people, he wrongfully terrorized these innocent group of people who had nothing to do with the situation, but you can kind of see his point of view when he looks at a human being. He's not just seeing a human being, he's seeing someone who is an oppressor. He's seeing a colonizer. He's seeing his enemy. And after putting that together on the rewatch, it's like, okay, I can now understand why Arlong is trying to gather money, trying to build an empire, trying to create a space for fishmen in a world that looks down on them, in a world that ostracizes them, in a world that enslaves them. To look at Arlong and only see a wannabe tyrannical ruler is kind of missing the point of the fishman race and other races in One Piece. That being said, at the end of Arlong Park, Nami joins the crew officially. She says goodbye to all her people, not officially. She just kind of steals their wallets, which is a funny thing. But the Going Merry gets an addition of those trees, those fruit trees that are, descendants of the plants of Bellemere, and that will always be with Nami. Nami also changes her tattoo to a tangerine and a pinwheel to signify her love for Bellemere, who's her foster mom, and Genzo, who always looked after her as a child and was like the mayor of Kokoyashi Village. So Arlong Park has a lot of stuff in it. Next up is the last island that the Straw Hats visit in the East Blue, and then they're off to the Grand Line. Um, I personally can't wait to break that down. I'm going to try to record the video right now. Thank you guys for vibing with me. Thank you guys for watching. Continue to click subscribe if you're new here and you want to continue on this journey with me. I'm also going to record a video on my latest book, Do No Harm, that I am currently reading and almost finishing. Anyway, goodbye.